Hello, I'm Jesse with Living Tree Community Foods, and we're here on a very historic moment here in Berkeley. We're with Darro Grieco, master of the Berkeley Olive Grove. Today is a very special day indeed, because the Olio Nuovo, the new olive oil, has just arrived. It's just been pressed literally days ago. It cannot be any fresher, any more vibrant, and any more living. It's just been made, and we'd like to ask its creator a few questions. What is Olio Nuovo?
Okay, Olio Nuevo would be the Spanish way of saying it. We like to say Olio Nuovo, which is Italian.
Okay.
But Olio Nuovo is, it's actually it means new oil. So it's generally the very first, or nearly the very first oil that's produced, always a very robust oil. And what is wonderful about this, and why is it so prized, is that it is the most alive, most vibrant, most aromatic, and most flavorful. You're getting more flavor of the olive in that oil. It just bursts out. And so that's why it's so good. Now, typically that will diminish into becoming a regular olive oil as the particulate matter settles. Now this year though, we have something a little bit different for you. This year, a very special mill and a new process, very special process. We are making this earliest olive oil, but in doing so, we're eliminating the last stage that ordinarily is done, which is centrifugal force to separate the particulate matter and the water. We don't want that traumatic event, and so we bypass it and directly filter. So this is filtered olive oil, but the filtering takes out all the moisture, which means that this Olio Nuovo will last 2 years.
It will last 2 years.
It will taste as good next year as it does now. It's a little different. Now, I would like to pause here and do something for you, if we can, quickly. This is what it looks like in a bottle. Maybe I should have a napkin, I don't know. But I always do that. So, now, just take a whiff of this. Ordinarily, what we do when we analyze an olive oil, or if it goes to competition, first thing is you want to warm it. So put it in the palm of your hand like this, cover it to trap the aromatics. That warms the oil a little bit, and then take your hand away and put your nose right in and smell it.
It's fragrant. You
It's
can
very fragrant.
you can sense the vitality.
Now, 50% of every competition for olive oil is only on aroma. It's on aroma because, and then the other 50% is on taste. And that is because the aroma is really going to give you a better sense of what the flavor of that oil will be as a condiment on food. Just as you would use spice or salt or pepper or something to enhance the flavor of food, olive oil does the same thing, but when you take it straight, it's very strong. But you can take just a little bit, and take just a little bit, and cover your mouth, and then try to breathe out through your nose before you swallow it. Just take a little, not too much. You're going to have a great amount of bitterness and a great amount of pungency when you swallow. These are representing the specific phenols that go to anti-inflammatory and cardiovascular benefits for your body.
Anti-inflammatory and cardiovascular. Yes. That's so very important in this most imperfect world.
Right, and the results of the lab test, the World Olive Lab that we just got back this morning, is talking about in this olive oil, in this very olive oil that you're tasting right now. they have found that we're in 2.5% or higher of, excuse me, of 2,500 samples done worldwide today. So very high. But this is the important thing. We've discovered in your samples very high concentration of a compound with antihypertensive activity named alanolide. Now, antihypertensive activity means it's preventing heart-related problems, heart attacks, strokes, that sort of thing. So, and they're very excited about this very important constituent, and it's here in this oil.
So, alanolide, if that's the correct, alanolide is a unique compound that they have just discovered in your Mission olive oil, and it exists in no other olive oil.
Well, I don't know that I can say that, but they found that they've discovered it in yours. They've discovered. They've looked at 2,500 olive oils and analysis, and they found it in mine.
How wonderful!
You can take that whatever you want.
How it's amazing, amazing. Well,
I want to just add one more thing. I hate to interrupt, but that's what I do. Again, with these constituents in olive oil that are going directly to health, the highest recorded in of all olive oils, there's a constituent called oleuropein aglycone, and that's highest in our olive oil by a considerable amount. Now, this is also I think it's very important. I'm not a scientist, not a doctor, but I would like to say that I think this is very important because the aglycone, as I understand it, the aglycone form of the oleuropein is a form that is assimilable by the body most readily. So if you take all kinds of polyphenols, but they don't get absorbed, it's not as good as one of the best. So
of course, assuredly, that makes so much sense. So, so that's another significant and unique factor, and I'm so glad to understand this. So this is good. So we're certainly making history. There's no question about it whatsoever. Darro, let me ask you, for how long have you and Olivia, your wife, been out there in the orchard, been farming and been growing olives?
About 11 years.
About 11 years. About 11 years. And why is your orchard called the Berkeley Olive Grove?
It's called the Berkeley Olive Grove because it was established by professors from the University of California right here in Berkeley. And they named it the Berkeley Olive Grove. They formed what they called the Berkeley Olive Association, which lasted for a very long time. And they established this grove with the highest ideals, altruistic ideals, and they made it absolutely state-of-the-art to the best of their ability. And they alluded to it as a 1,000-year project.
A 1,000-year project.
Because olive trees can last 1,000 years. They live 1,000 years and still be wonderful. So everything from the get-go, from the very beginning, was done with the greatest quality and longevity in mind.
Because they simply wanted to make the very, very best olive grove that they possibly could.
Right, and actually within the last few years we've had several different experts from Italy on the grove, and actually the consensus was that if doing it today to plant a traditional agricultural project, which this is, traditional agriculture, it could not improve on the layout or what these early professors did. So whether it's luck or just really wonderful insight and research, it couldn't be improved upon.
They did everything right.
Yes, and this is traditional agriculture. This, and we talk. I'll get to. You can ask me about that when you want, or I can do it now. You tell me. This card.
Wait. The next question, just in what year was it founded?
Oh, 1913.
In 1913. So just how old are they?
Well, just over a century.
The trees are just about over 100 years old.
Yeah, 2013.
And they're still producing.
2013 was our centennial. You know, if you consider that an olive tree can easily lived for 600 years. They're just hitting their stride now. And so this, what we think of as a very old, maybe decrepit olive grove, is actually in fact producing some of the great olive oil of the world.
How amazing, how reassuring. That shows you there's so much hope at the grassroots in this country. And I've got to ask this because we're still in the year of the drought here in California. How are the trees irrigated? Okay.
This is dry farmed. We do not irrigate, so in other words, it's rain irrigated. And this gives us some severe limitations and challenges, a little more severe than I would like it to be, but at the same time, it forces the olives to be very, very concentrated. Very, very concentrated. It affects harvest amounts and harvest times and harvestability, but when you get down to the oil that you can produce from what you have there, it just can't be beat. It's very, very concentrated. The more challenged the olive is, generally speaking, the higher the phenol value is.
Okay, that's a very, very good thing to know, because the whole trend here in California, according to some at least, is that we are going into a rather arid period, in which California is simply reverting to its original natural climate. The last 150 years have been particularly moist and wet, and we're just going back to what California has always been.
Well, so, there's agricultural land that is fallow now because they don't have water for them. And we're situated, maybe it's Darro too, we're situated in a particularly, a specific site that seems to allow still some moisture to be retained in the ground. What we're looking at right now, very, very important, is we are looking to biochar, which is it's a wonderful thing that I wish everyone knew about. Every year we prune the olives, and so we have wood. Originally we burned it. I don't want to burn anymore, and then we use chips. But even if you chip the wood and you lay it on the ground, that will help hold moisture. But it also, as it breaks down, it releases carbon dioxide, and so a portion of the carbon in that wood goes into the atmosphere. Now it's on the ground, and some would say, well, the trees are absorbing most of that. But when you create biochar, you're sequestering 100% of the carbon. And this carbon base is spread on the ground. You want to mix it with a compost or a compost tea. So now you have a supplement to the ground that's not only going to slowly give nutrients to the trees, but it's also going to hold the moisture that's in the ground, retain the moisture. So as water becomes more scarce and more expensive, new simple technologies such as biochar allows us to do more with the available water.
Okay, so just to summarize, or so that I, a simple-minded person, could understand, I don't quite understand what biochar is, and what you do is to prune the trees, and then you also shred. You shred the.
We used to take the branches and big machine. The branch goes in and chips. Shredded wood comes out the other end and goes on the ground. Biochar is a way of burning. It's basically you think of a pile of wood and you put some paper at the bottom or something, and you start a fire, and it burns. A great big fire, lots of flame, lots of smoke. That's going to burn that wood, and when it's finished, you will have a little pile of ash.
Yes.
That's aerobic burning. Biochar is created by anaerobic burning. So instead of the flames going from the bottom up to the top, it is instead you are burning top down. So you have the stack of wood. It's placed in a particular way for airflow. You have a small fire at the top, which draws air through. It heats the wood, so that what happens is the moistures and the oils and so forth in the wood, those are consumed, but the wood itself actually doesn't burn, it just turns to charcoal.
Oh, it just turns it, I get it, I understand.
It turns to charcoal, and charcoal, I'm sure you know that
Sure.
one of the things you can do is take a charcoal tablet
Absolutely.
pulling toxins. It's the same thing. And actually, we can go out into the grove and look at some of the biochar we have there. And a test is you break it open, and if it breaks, it sounds a sharp sound like breaking glass. It's very, very good. Then you chew a little bit, and if it doesn't have a taste, perfect. And that's what we're getting.
That is very ingenious, very practical. All right, well that's a very, very good thing.
I wanted to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
I just read not too long ago. I think Kevin Spacey was giving a speech someplace or other. But anyway, there was this line that caught my attention. It was, the Stone Age did not end because we ran out of stones. It ended because other technologies, better technologies, were developed, were devised, metals and so forth. And we're at a point now when we need to look at the oil age that we're in. Instead of being dependent on petroleum products, let's find other ways to do what we need to do to have a sustainable environment again. So what we're doing now with biochar and things like that is going back to actually more natural things. And the sooner we do that, the better chance we have.
Well, that sounds very, very reasonable to me, and that's a great step. So in other words, what you're doing is taking one step forward and 2 steps back at the same time simultaneously, in a sense.
Yeah, the step back though is it's serendipity, because we're getting new products that were up until then waste products.
Right.
When I make olive oil, well, Mission happens to have a fairly high content of oil, but olives have between 15 and 25% is oil. The rest is, you might say, a waste product. So that has traditionally just been waste or green stream. But we're finding that with technology, what we know how to do now, we can get out of that 3/4 of the products that we need as though they're more valuable than olive oil. And at the same time, we are improving the environment.
I feel so reassured. Human ingenuity at the grassroots level. I'm very, very sure. What would you say are the fundaments of your enterprise? In other words, the basic philosophical direction. What are the central ideas and central themes that motivate you?
How would Leonardo have done it?
How would Leonardo have done it? Okay.
In other words, I want to find the best orchard culture, the best way to handle the trees in a grove, the best way to harvest the olives and get them to, and then when they are at the mill, the best way to mill, so that we have the greatest quality of olive oil rather than the greatest quantity. Quantity of poor quality is not nearly as good as having the best quality. So we always, we spend much more, and it's more difficult, and we get less oil, but we get the oil, you're seeing the results. We're getting extraordinary olive oil, and this, for me, is my motivating factor really is twofold. One is I'm the steward at this particular time of this historic grove, and I want to do the best to make certain that it remains available for the future generations to be able to learn, see, learn, experience. And the other is I want the food product to be a healthful food product. I want to bring life about. So those are my objectives.
I'm so reassured. I'm so very, very glad to hear that indeed. And it's also, it seems to me that the world is starting to wake up and to recognize the level of the work that you're doing. And I believe that you have won in the last several years several awards. If you'd like to tell a little about them.
We have won a gold medal or higher every year that we produced olive oil. A couple of years ago, many people know Tom Muller, extra virgin olive oil. He is now considered maybe the worldwide kind of the most important authority on reporting about olive oil, at least. And we're on his great olive oils of the world list. A few years ago, we had 3 great olive oils of the world, 3 gold medals at New York International. We've had twice at Los Angeles International. We've had gold medal, best of class, best of show. That's the highest you could possibly get. Every year, we get something that's in that category. Last year at New York International, I don't enter so many olive oils now because I don't really. I think I've established myself, and I don't want to spend the money that way. I'd rather spend it on research. A couple of years ago, we received the Good Food Awards for our orange hydromolecule, which is the citrus is co-milled with the olive. This year again, we are the recipient of the 2016 Good Food Awards. And this is a nice award because to even qualify for the competition, you have to be using the right kinds of practices, and then you have to be producing a good product. So we've done these things, annually. We do very well. But at this point, I'm really focusing. I will continue to do a little bit of competition because that's what keeps our name out there. But I'm really more interested in the research that we're doing. We're finding new things, and this year, something tremendous. Very, very. I'm enthralled by what I'm reading. Just got this from the lab this morning. But it's very interesting because it's when you really dig down into these figures. I'm finding that the olive oil that we're making by the special process that we're doing, it's not the earliest, greenest olive that's giving the highest numbers. It's the ones that have still the green flesh, but the riper skins.
The riper skins.
And this is a whole new discovery and something to look into.
How wonderful. There were facets after facets unfolding. It's all a question of focus. So what would you say would be your primary philosophical, the primary philosophical fundaments that inspire you?
Well, it's right here. I'll read this to you. I put this on the cards that we put in our shipments, but it's basically, it says right here at the top, food of true natural value. Food of true natural value. And this is traditional agriculture. The difference between traditional agriculture and new industrial agriculture, just in terms of, say, olive grove, I have 65 trees per acre. In industrial olive grove, there would be, instead of 65 trees per acre, there would be 620 to 720 trees per acre.
10 times the density.
And you cannot have a natural growing plant with
it's an artificial situation.
It's totally an artificial situation.
Totally unnatural.
So our grove is certified organic. We're dry farmed. It's certified kosher. We do get the high awards annually. And our olive oils have unique health properties in significant amounts. It's reported every year. And it's for health and also Alzheimer's prevention. And so I'm after taste, health, environmental sustainability, and improvement. And that's kind of what we're about.
That sounds magnificent to me. I'm very, very glad. And just one last question. As a family farmer here in California, what challenges do you see on the road ahead?
I would like to actually rephrase that and say that I am happy, pleased, happy, almost overjoyed by the positive response that comes from people that are learning more about olive oil, food, health, the environment, and they are finding our company, they are seeking our product because they are looking at the true food value. From our side, we're very, even though it's a very large estate, we're a very small company, very small farmers, and to compete in the environment we find ourselves is very, very difficult. Actually, at this very moment, the principal mill that I have used for producing olive oil for 9 years, I have no more mill time for this year. I have maybe 150 tons of olives, and I can't take those olives to the mill to get them milled into olive oil. So I have to find other mills, other resources. And that's because there are bigger players, bigger players that are taking my space. So we just have to find, really, we have to find the niche and people finding us for who we are, what we are, and that will, I hope, keep us going. And also finding such as the biochar and so forth, ways to environmentally succeed where the industrial approach that's so dependent on petroleum products and water will fail.
Okay. Well, that's these are magnificent sentiments, and the thought that just flashed in my mind was I remember the saying that nothing can stand in the way of the overwhelming force of an idea whose time has come. Sustainability, small farming, natural farming, organic farming, kosher certified food, it's all at the leading edge. And I'm so very, very glad. It's been a privilege indeed, to talk about these things and to talk with a pioneer in this great movement forward. Thank you so very much indeed, Darro. A privilege and an honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.